If you thought the draft fun was all for Talladega last time out for the 1UP Nitro National Series, you are sorely mistaken, because we are here at the new and improved Atlanta Motor Speedway for race number 22 of the 2022 1UP Nitro National Series season. The playoffs are about halfway through, and we've got a lot of interesting storylines to keep our eye on for the rest of the season, and for this race as well. It's going to be an absolute blast from here on out. Now, our regular commentator for the Nitro National Series, Duke Ansack, is a bit under the weather once again, so joining us for this race at Atlanta is Ryan Griffin once again, and it's good to have you back with us. And this race, well, it's going to be anything but what we saw in the spring for the Superstar Series. A lot of high-speed action in a big pack, not much room for error, so you got to be at 100% the entire way through.
Basically, you take what you knew about Atlanta and you throw it out the window because they reconfigured this racetrack, and it's going to be a hell of a lot crazier than what you thought it was and what you thought you knew about this track. So these drivers, it's funny that it's in the playoffs, this is going on, but they're going to have to adapt quick, and who knows what we're going to see, and it could turn the playoff grid, for as we know, completely upside down.
Absolutely, there's a lot to gain in this race, but also a lot to lose in this race. As we can now look at the starting lineup, 42 cars strong as usual, and the front row filled by two Superstar Series drivers. Justin Hutchinson gets pole position, with Henry Thomas alongside him in the 72 that won last time out at Talladega. He could be a challenger in that machine once again. As points leader Patrick Smith's got a bit of a hole to dig himself out of. He starts 15th today, but with two workable grooves at this place for drafting help, it's going to be a lot easier to make your way to the front of the field than it had in races past here at Atlanta. So Patrick Smith's got nothing really to worry about unless he gets caught up in an accident midway through this race, which could happen. We've seen it before, but Patrick Smith's got a 29-point lead. He should be pretty good as long as he can finish there or thereabouts by the time the checkered flag flies. But for all the other playoff drivers, this is an opportunity race to gain time and to gain points on that 04 car. As the field rolls off of turn 4, heading towards the restart zone at the all-new Atlanta Motor Speedway, Hutchinson and Thomas on the front row. The green flag is out. We're underway for 65 laps, and Henry Thomas gets the better launch of the two. The outside line looks like it's forming a little better at the moment, but the inside lane has more cars there. That could allow Hutchinson to forge ahead as we dive off into turn 1, 2x2x2 for the first time.
And pretty much this new Atlanta, it's going to be, we had Super Speedway race at Talladega. We're pretty much going to see the same kind of pack style racing here. They're almost 3 wide there, basically, from looks like maybe about 9th place on backs, 3 wide, but they're still double file at the front, as we might have a 3 wide here possibly for the lead off of 4. Nope, they're 3 wide for third, basically. At the line, I believe the 11 line that lap, he did by about 0.02 of a second.
And
200, excuse me.
And that's about as close a margin as you're going to get here at Atlanta. It's going to be a fantastic race from start to finish. As the field barrels down the back straightaway, getting up to full speed, they're still making their way up there. And they're 3 wide for second. Aaron Hall in the number 7, diving it underneath Hutchinson with Nicky Martinez in the middle. This is a critical race for Aaron Hall if he can get a lap led here, and he will. Hall is last of the 12 playoff drivers, and he needs something magical to happen if he wants to contend for a championship when we get to Homestead in a few weeks.
What's amazing is seeing this pack. You see Atlanta for as long as it's always been, well, kind of in recent years it's been the tire management track, but now to see the new reconfiguration and see them pack racing like this, who knows what we're going to see. As we've got another lead change at the front as the 25 now takes a look and will lead a lap.
That is Martinez, the highest placed of the non-playoff drivers. She currently leads this race ahead of Henry Thomas, who now makes a move to the bottom of the track with help from Alexa Lushine in the blue number 50 and Autumn Koger in the black and white number 19. They're both powerful playoff Fords, and they're looking to push the all-star car for Robbers Racing out to the lead of this race. Remember, this 72 with Robert Weaver driving won at Talladega. We'll see if Thomas can go back-to-back for the team. He leads lap number 4.
And this whole group still is about, basically you have They're roughly back to about, I think, the mid-20s that are in the middle of this pack right now. They're just... It's amazing to see Atlanta act like this when I'm used to Atlanta being as old school as it is, and you see this kind of racing here 5 laps into the race, as we're going to have yet another battle for the lead, it looks like.
Yeah, Thomas holds the lead currently, but I would not put it past Aaron Hall to make something big happen. He needs something big to happen. He's last of the playoff drivers, 12th in points, 94 points out of the lead. He really needs something magical to happen if he's going to have any hope of contending for a championship when we get to Homestead. But there's still plenty of racing left. We still have 60 laps to go in this race, but Hall's got some very good company behind him. He's got Martinez back there, Alexa Luchon, Tyler Ferris in the 55 looking for his first career top 10. He's 4th car on the inside line, that red 55. And Todd Hemler, 5th car in line on the bottom, all giving a push to Aaron Hall, who forges out into the lead.
The other thing we're seeing here, at least, again, we're on lap 7 of 65, so it's still early, but there's not really a line that seems to be dominant line right now. Right now, all 3 lines running pretty much, I say 3 because they're now 3 wide, but all the lines seem to be pretty much similar as far as speed, so it's not like one line is lagging behind the other, as we have yet another lead change. The 25 retakes the point, and now the 19 is looking, and they're 3 wide for second.
Yeah, Koger lost a lot of momentum as Kyle Corbett gets into the outside wall. You're going to see that quite a bit here at Atlanta. These guys overstepping their boundaries on the outside of the racetrack. He's going to lose quite a bit of ground to the cars in front of him. He's going to fall from 8th to all the way outside the top 15.
And there, again, the size of this... To go from the Super Speedway at Talladega, yes, Talladega has a room, but you go to a smaller track like this, the principle of racing remains pretty much the same. They're still going to be racing in a pack, but you got less room to move around here than you do at Talladega. So that'll be the most interesting thing to see these drivers, the national drivers, especially later the superstar drivers, are also going to be on the same style surface. So the superstar drivers that are in the race today running runoff are kind of getting a little bit of a preview of what we're going to see in the superstar race, because this kind of racing, small track, you have to be aware of what you can do. As we got yet another battle for the lead.
Yep, and it's 2 of the
Hutchinson and the Polson are going to try to retake the lead
here.
Yeah,
it's 2 of the superstar drivers you mentioned. Henry Thomas in the 72, Justin Hutchinson in the 11. Both of them will be racing tomorrow in the superstar race, and they're battling for the lead. You also saw the blue and white 02 of Cale Teskar Jr. He's back there just on the outskirts of the top 10. He's trying to make a move in there right now, but up at the front, it's Hutchinson with a push from Tyler Ferris to try and take the lead of this race. Ferris, the highest running rookie right now in that 55 car, and he's not satisfied with second. He wants to go for the lead himself. Simply incredible what you see at Talladega. I say Talladega, it acts so much like Talladega now, but it's still the old Atlanta we know and love deep down. However, it's just, the racing here is so different, but it's in a good way. Atlanta, it's changed for the better, in my opinion. We've got a lot of good racing and a lot less accidents to report. But Tyler Ferris takes the lead of this race, but for how long is the question, because Aaron Hall and now Autumn Koger are both trying to take a look at the lead.
It's interesting because the track is basically acting like you would see at a super speedway. You can see at Daytona Talladega where somebody can't maintain the lead, as they are 3 wide now for the lead. Again, the interesting part is that because Atlanta's a little smaller in terms of the actual racing surface, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys handle the 3 wide on a little bit more narrow surface than Talladega. I've heard some drivers call this, with the new style of configuration and the new style that the cars race, is basically a mini Daytona in terms of how hard it is to race. But man, it's amazing to see this up here as somebody who's, you know, a driver that's up here watching this. It makes you want to get out on that track and be a part of it, but at the same time, you don't want to be in the car because you don't want the nerves. And we just continue to have the cycle at the front.
However, unlike Daytona and Talladega, you don't see that major shuffle from the back to the front that you see. The same few people are consistently running at the front of the field here. that have been running up front for the last 14 laps. The main players are still here. We haven't seen a major shuffle from the back to the front and the front to the back as Autumn Koger takes the lead for the first time today. But for the most part, everybody who started up front still running there.
Yeah, maybe that will be the difference. I mean, this is the track that you wouldn't think to have a super speedway where, yes, we have the pack where the field is closer together, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the cars are going to react the same way as you would see Daytona and Talladega. So far, that's one of the differences we see. Again, is there, again, double file here at the front. Not really any 3 wide yet, but I'm sure we'll see it.
And right now, the pack is about 17 cars strong at the front of the field, then a bit of a separation back. You see Cale Tescar Jr. in the 0-2. He's going to make a move 3 wide underneath playoff driver Zachary DeLello, who also needs a good day to happen here. He's 11th of the playoff drivers, 63 off the lead, so he needs something good to happen to keep his playoff hopes alive. But up at the front, Alexa Luchon now takes the lead from Autumn Koger. Bit of a ladies' night here at Atlanta right so far. The two ladies of the playoffs currently running 1-2 at the front. But don't look now, you got some powerful rookies in Tyler Ferris and Todd Hemler lurking in the distance.
I'm really interested to see with this package of those cars, what happens as we get some wear on the tires in these cars. Will these cars react? Again, this is not... We're not running a tire like you'd see on a super speedway, so it'd be interesting to see how these drivers and cars react as the run goes on, as we get closer to pit stops, what these cars are going to do. Are they going to spread out, or are we actually going to keep this pack? So we'll have to wait and see as it continues to be the dicing at the front. We still remain pretty much 2x2.
And three wide further back. You see Tescar, Corbett, and Thomas back there. It looks like they're going to sort it out amongst themselves. But Autumn Koger's got a pretty big lead. You don't want too big a lead out here because it allows the cars behind you to get a big run like what Todd Hemler's doing on the inside. But now Joshua Michaels ducks out away from the 38. Now jumps up in front of the 50 to try and push the 19 along. So the inside line's a little less organized, but it's Todd Hemler surging his way out in front. He will lead lap number 19.
There's still double file, and again, it's just... We're going to be talking about this style of racing, especially for this race today and then the national or the superstar race later on. But this style of racing is just unique to see, so we can sit here, we'll talk about the racing is, again, still 2x2. Basically, it looks like back to about maybe the 20s. I think you said like 14, maybe 14 to 16 cars that are actually in this lead pack at the moment. As the 25 now leads.
Yeah, Martinez has been one of those cars that's been solidly up at the front all day, similar to the 19. Oh, and Hemler makes contact with the wall. He's going to be put 3 wide top, but it doesn't look like he's going to lose as much time as the 66 did earlier. He's going to fall back a little bit, but thankfully for him, he's got Alexa Luchon there to pick him back up. So they're going to lose a little bit of ground, and that might cost Autumn Koger a little bit as Martinez goes back to the lead.
It was really interesting to see what happened there with the 38, because it looked like what happened is he just got a little too high, the 19 got to look inside, and then the 38 realized he couldn't move back down and just kind of stayed against the wall. So it's not like he was in the wall and really lost a lot of momentum. He was able to pull back down off the wall once the 19 cleared him. And as you can see, he's continued on the harm no foul. He may have scraped the wall a little bit, so there's probably some paint rubbed off the right side of that 38, but he's right back in the mix.
He's still hanging in there in the 6th position currently, but out in front, Nicky Martinez still in search of that first career win in the Nitro National Series. She's had one of the most agonizing waits for that I've ever seen in this series because she's come so close so many times. It's just a matter of time before she gets that win. But she's got a hungry teammate behind her in Joshua Michaels, who's racing for a championship, remember. He needs this win, too, to try and jump his way back in. He's only 30 points out of the lead as the top 3 get a bit separated from this group, led by Keon Daly, who's now moved up to the 9th position. He leads Thomas and Terzic in the 57. He's made some great gains from the start. I believe he started in the 23rd position. He's now fighting for a spot in the top 10.
And it's funny, we mentioned how the pack earlier was close together. The pack is kind of separated. So we basically have, what is this pretty much, seems like this 7-car pack here. Then you got a couple of cars by themselves. And then you got the big pack we were just mentioning there. Let's try to run them back down. It looks like they might try to close at least a little of the gap there. As Michaels goes for the lead here.
And it looks like the pack spread out even further. So a very interesting story. Is it just me, or did I see a yellow light on there? I did see a yellow light on. We're racing back to the yellow flag for the first time here at Atlanta this afternoon. So the caution flag flies on lap number 26, and the field slows down behind Nicky Martinez, gets single file, and there's the cause, Ryan Arnold in the number 10, and it looks as though Austin Holloman in the 59 also joining them. So it looks like a 2-car incident that brings out caution for the first time today. Not what these guys wanted to see.
Yeah, and it looked like there was almost a... the pack had kind of got separated. Well, now we're going to string them back together and see what happens here when we get going on this restart. But obviously we'll see what actually brought out the incident, brought out the yellow here. But first yellow here at Atlanta, and pretty entertaining to watch the first, I guess you could say, third of this race.
So this is where Ryan Arnold was running in this 10 car. I think it actually starts ahead of him. Aiden Clare in the 00 gets tagged. And, Austin Holloman goes for a slide on his roof. Another big impact for Austin Holloman. That is not what he needed after a much more severe impact that he took at Las Vegas a while ago. But
yeah, it's just unfortunate that, at least for the one, you're innocent bystander, but this one, just getting hooked in the pack. It's just, they get together, 59 gets turned back into the pack, and for the 10, just unfortunately in the wrong spot at the wrong time.
And you see Zane Grayson in that orange car with a little bit of an impact. That might slow him down for the rest of the race. We will see. But for Ryan Arnold, the day is definitely over for him, because you saw the smoke pouring out of the back of that number 10. His day is done, unfortunately, for the Team Dayspring entry. But as we go back to our live shot, I think that's the 59. He's going to rejoin this race a couple laps down. We've seen this before. Remember the Superstar race in Montreal? We saw Duke Anzac go upside down on the first lap and rejoin the race soon after. I think Austin Holloman's going to try the same thing, although he is going to be very much off the pace for the rest of the day.
I tell you what, don't say that these guys don't have any give up in them, because I mean, if I were to flip my car, I don't know if I'd be that hesitant to get back out on the racetrack, but man, he just strapped right back in there, and they're going to at least try to finish the race, which, yeah, I give him credit for that.
So Austin Holloman will rejoin 2 laps down, but everybody else is still on the lead lap, aside from Holloman and Arnold, who is out of the race. So we're cycling lap 28 now. We've got 40 cars on the lead lap. Nicky Martinez leads the way. Autumn Koger second, Michaels, Hemler, Lucian round out the top 5. Then it's Tyler Ferris in 6th, Hutchinson, Corbett, Thomas, and Aaron Hall rounding out the top 10. So we've got an interesting group of drivers up here. Some looking for their first wins, some looking to add to their playoff points totals, and others looking for a future next year. So there's a lot of intricately woven stories that'll be told for the remainder of this race, but for right now, it's Martinez out front, and we'll see coming to the line this time if we'll get the one-to-go signal this time.
Yeah, what's going to be more interesting to see here is now the field is going to be bunched back together, which the racing we saw at the start of the race, it'll be interesting to see if we see it now, because after all, we just saw... We're going to have, cars are worn now, tires are worn, fuel's been burned off, so we'll see if these cars react the same way as what we saw at the start of the race, and see if we still see that 3 wide that we saw earlier. Now, that'll be the interesting thing to see with the pack as well. Will the pack stay together like they did in the early part, or will we see it string out? It's definitely going to be interesting to see what we see, again, this being the first race with these cars under this configuration.
Another question to keep our eye on, will this 59 be a big factor as you see him pull up to take his place among the lap cars because he's the only one? Will this 59 be a big deterrence for a lot of these cars because he is going to be much slower than the lead lap cars to his outside? Will that cause a bit of separation immediately in the pack if they get double file behind this 59 of Holloman, if he holds them up any? Well, we're about to find out because we're about a third of a lap away from coming to the restart on lap number 30.
Lap number 30 with the 25 car in the lead. Lights off on the pace car, the Chevy Corvette pace car. As they bring him through turn 4 here.
Yeah, Nicky Martinez will line up on the de facto pole for this restart. Koger, Michaels, Hemler, Lucian, the top 5, heading towards the restart zone once again. They enter it. Martinez is going to wait to the last minute, but we're back underway here at Atlanta to start lap number 30 and get the second half of this race underway in fine fashion. Todd Hemler is going to make a move to the inside, try and get around Michaels. That might be a mistake because Holloman is well off the pace of the lead lap cars. Hemler realizes his mistake. He's going to try and get around it another way.
Yeah, he will get around the 59, but he's going to lose a little bit of time for being held up by the 59. The 59 looks like it's going to try to pull high here and get out of the way as much as they can, but again, you're 3 wide still with the lap car, so trying to get out of the way of the leaders, and it looks like he is going to do the best that he can.
And I saw one car pull off into the pit lane, and it looked like one of our playoff drivers. It looked like the 92 of Dylan Young pulling into the pit lane. He had some sort of problem with his car. He might have run something over under the pace laps with a slow leak in one of his tires, but either way, he is now out of contention for the race win, barring a timely yellow flag. But as things run right now, Alexa Lucian makes her way back to the lead as Ryan Caggiano has the fastest lap of the race at 29.61. But Lucian leads that lap with Autumn Koger hot on her heels. But heartbreak for Dylan Young, who did nothing wrong himself, but now he's got a big hole to dig himself out of for the final 3 races of the season.
And again, as we said about the pack, is it looks like we're down to maybe 12 cars, I think, in this lead group here, and then there's a single car on its own. So yeah, the pack kind of wound down in size. So maybe you could say it could be partly due to the lap car that got in the way. It could be partly due to the fact that you've seen, wear on these cars through a run. So handling's starting to be a premium now. But whatever the reason, the 50 car now out front with a good kind of couple car length lead on the 18 at the moment.
Lucian is looking for a good day here today. She's entered this race in a bit of a hole in the points after what happened at Talladega. She enters 7th in points, 39 off the lead. So she needs something good to happen to her as well. She has 2 wins already this season, but wouldn't she love to get a 3rd to mount her championship charge here? As it looks like we saw further back in the shot, this pack start to slow up. I think the 72 got on the flat a little bit. And he comes back up, no harm, no foul. He carries on. And that one car you saw all by itself in the back, that's the 01 of Cody Goforth. He's joined the lead group. The second group, I should say, because the lead group's is down to just 5 cars now. These 4, and Justin Hutchinson in 5th.
Yeah, I'd say really even 4 cars, not necessarily 5, because Hutchinson is enough off of that lead group, but he's going to try to suck up here with the side-by-side in front of him. As right now, Lucian and
Joshua
Michaels are out front here by about 2 car lengths. Thank you for the correction. I was just kind of stuttering over Lucian's name more than I was Michael, but it's interesting to see how the things have developed with these cars. It'll be definitely something to watch when we see the superstar guys take to the track, and the superstar competitors that are running in this race, like Hutchinson. It's going to be interesting to see how they adapt in the series when that series runs here. But yeah, we basically have the front 4 on their own, and then Hutchinson just hanging off this pack. Then you got their single file, basically the next 4. And there really isn't any side-by-side at the moment, so I think these guys are just just kind of riding at the moment, trying to see where we can get to. As the 25, I think, is going to get the wall down and took off a turn.
Yeah,
two.
you talk of ride. Oh, she almost made contact with that 11 car down the back straightaway. You talk about riding. That 25 was riding the wall off of turn 2. So that's going to cost her a lot of time. She's going to fall from 4th to just barely hanging onto a spot in the top 10.
And at the same time, you don't lose too much because of the way the pack is. The 25 has actually scored 8th at the line there. So as you can see, the way that they're in line right now is we got another car that's in the wall.
That's Corbett for a second time in this race. He has had a ill-handling car for much of this race, Kyle Corbett has. And he entered today 6th in the points. He needed a good day too, but he's not getting it so far. He's hanging on to a good spot in the top 10, or in the top 15 now, but could have been a lot better for that organization, as we see Austin Hallman all by himself. Dylan Young exits the pits. He's running competitive times, but he's all by himself in doing it. He's probably not going to be able to gain much ground unless some other cars have issues. Tough to see from the Finguy Saitomi Motorsports team, who are hoping for some real good momentum after their strong finish at Talladega. Wasn't meant to be today, though. But out in front, it is Alexa Luschan by about 0.2 of a second over the squabbling pair of Joshua Michaels and Justin Hutchinson for second.
I think what we're really starting to see is we saw those two cars that got the fence. The handling is now starting to come into play, because the way this track is, you may be able to run wide open here early, but then the handling is going to start to come into premium, as we see basically at Daytona where we see this. And I understand the drivers calling this a mini Daytona. Well, look at this 38 car starting to claw its way back, too. This 38 car who got into the wall earlier, lightly brushed it earlier, is now trying to fight Michaels here for second.
Yeah, Todd Hemler making a great run. And he, despite missing 5 races this season, entered today 22nd in points. He's doing a very good job in an almost full-time position with Jeff Bolton Racing. He will definitely be full-time in that car next year, albeit renumbered to number 97 for 2023. But you can see now Austin Holloman well off the pace, and the field is about to lap him momentarily. That will be an interesting thing to keep our eye on, because that will string out the pack even more than it already has.
Also interesting, I'm noticing too, especially from the leader of Luschan, is she isn't running the bottom lane. She's running basically from the middle of the top as the leader, which is very interesting. That tells me that the handling, again, is starting to go away on the car. You want to run, you're kind of letting the car ride up where it wants to, and you're just kind of basically hanging on at this point. And of course, her and Michaels are kind of running that same line. Of course, they're going to go down low here, at least Luschan is, to try to get around the lap car. Michaels follows suit.
And it looks like once again this will hamper Nicky Martinez most of all, and Justin Hutchinson. They're going to lose a lot of ground here. Hutchinson looks like he's going to be able to get to the bottom, as will Cody Goforth. And Ricky Freeman Jr. in the 91 is going to follow along. But Nicky Martinez, oh, you hate to see it, because she was having such a strong day in that 25 car. Led a good chunk of this race early on, but now she can't seem to get out from behind that 59, and now she's fallen from 6th spot, now going to barely be able to hang on to a top 20 here.
There's another car that was into the wall there off turn 2 there in the background.
That's Kenneth Grant in the 53.
But again, it feels unfortunate when you are that one car that gets stuck behind the lap car, but you really can't fault the lap cars. The lap car picked a line to stay out of the way of the leaders, and it's just unfortunate for the 25 team that they were the unfortunate ones on that line. It's just, you hate it as a driver. You hate to see it. The driver gets held up like that, but the lap car really wasn't doing anything wrong. They were holding their line like they were supposed to, and just, it's unfortunate for Martinez that she lost all the ground there because of it.
But now this is shaking up the order in a big way. Look at this 52 car of Keon Daly. Where'd he come from? He's now challenging Luschan for the lead after being nowhere for the opening 2/3 of this race. We now have 20 laps to go from Atlanta, and we've got some new players up in the mix. We've got Keon Daly in 2nd. Ricky Freeman Jr. now makes his way up through the field. He is now running 8th, and Cody Goforth right behind him. Got some new players up front. We'll see what they can do with the fresh air.
A lot of this has to do with the fact of them catching that lap car, which can sometimes, if you pick the right, we talked about the 25 car having the unfortunate spot of being the one stuck behind the lap car. Well, if you pick the right line catching the lap car, you can gain a lot of ground, as what's happened here with the 52 and how they've been able to close as much as they have. As it's basically this 4-car group, then you have the 38 is kind of somewhat latched on here, and then Hutchinson, I guess you could say, is kind of leading this other group, which is not really quite organized as the front 5, but they are still here as they're in a little group of their own.
Yeah, absolutely. With Hutchinson leading the second group, running the caboose is Yadis Terzic, with Eric Monaco trying to sneak his way up in the 73 car. But there is Patrick Smith in that 04. He's almost up to the top 10. We haven't mentioned him much today. He is still the points leader as they run, but he's going to lose ground to his main championship rivals here tonight. But running up front right now continues to be Alexa Luschan, with Autumn Koger running second. Then you got Michaels in third, who's actually making a move on Koger for second. Very strong run from all 3 of these drivers, all of whom are chasing a championship, and they're going to do some very good things to their championship hopes as things run right now. They're running 1, 2, 3 currently.
Again, what I'm noticing with this 50 is that, again, she's not necessarily running the bottom of the track. You're running basically, the top looks like really more top. And basically it seems like whoever's behind her is basically kind of mirroring her groove. They're not really willing to duck out as much, as though it looks like the 19 might have a look here off too.
There's just no help, though. There's just no help to get momentum going on the bottom group right now. Everybody's too content to stay on the top. I think that's going to change the fewer laps are left in this race. However, it's going to take a lot for these guys. But although Koger's going to try and make a move for the lead without any help at all, going to try and challenge Luschan for the lead here as we have 15 to go.
Now what this does, though, is when they get side by side, you see what it did. It pulled Michaels and the 38 of Heimler into this mix. And I think it also may have pulled the 52 back into the mix. So we're back to basically a 5-car lead group here, because that's all it does. Michaels took over second. And basically that's what happens. It seems like once you get side by side, it pulls the cars behind you back to you and the person you're battling. So it basically pulls the pack back together when you're double file. When you're single file, you kind of spread out, as we're seeing now that they, Michael's got basically single file there with Luschan, and now they're single file again.
Whoa, Hemler ran Freeman into the wall there on the back straightaway. He's trying to minimize the damage of being on that bottom groove, but I'm not sure that was fair play. Because
actually, I don't know if that was him riding up as much as I think he was making a move, and then when he tried to pull back up, the 91 had already filled the hole.
It's going to be a very interesting debrief for the rest of this race, as you see the rest of the mid-pack battling it out. Patrick Smith is still stuck back there in about 15th place. He'll keep the points lead, but it'll be a lot smaller than it once was. But we're closing in on the end of this race now, and Alexa Luschan's been leading for the majority of the day. We'll see if she can close the deal.
And the field is back to single file, so we'll see if somebody's going to be willing to duck here at the end to try to make a move, as Hutchinson's in the wall now in 1-2.
Yeah, they're roaring down the back straightaway. Hutchinson slowing down the back straightaway. Might have made a little bit of contact with someone or something, but he gives way to his teammate Freeman. He gives way to Tyler Ferris and to Cody Goforth. He'll fall back to, it looks like, the 9th spot. But we're closing in on the end of this race. We've got 11 laps to go now. Alexa Luschan's been pretty consistently out in the lead, but here comes Michaels on a move. It might not work, though, because Koger's already alongside him for second.
Yep. And then 19 looks like he'll get around the 18.
And you see another lap car.
The lap cars that they may catch before the end of this with 10 to go. They're going to catch the 59. It's going to be a question of if they catch these other 2 cars.
Yeah, they're probably not going to catch the 92. They might catch Zane Grayson, though, in the 99. So at this point in time, they may have 2 more lap cars to negotiate for the end of this race. And with 10 laps to go, that could very well decide who wins and who goes home empty-handed.
It could also play a role here, as the 19 does not have any help behind them at the moment. Right now it's just her and Luschan. They kind of have Michaels is not close enough to really affect helping either one of these cars with 9 to go.
With two powerful Fords in the playoffs out in front right now. Lucian leads Koger. The single-car organization Alexa Lucian is the head of has been exceeding expectations ever since they joined the Nitro National Series. They've won their fair share of races. They're about to get another one here today if they can hold on for another 9, maybe 8 more laps. But here comes Austin Holloman to get lapped again, and this time he's probably going to stick up high again, and I think Lucian, just barely going to be able to sneak through, and this time it's Autumn Koger is the unlucky one stuck on the top with Holloman.
Yeah, and what I noticed too out of the 19 that I think was also kind of hurting them too is they had to really check up a punch there in 1 and 2 about the lap before. They almost were back in the clutches of Michaels. Now Michaels is going to be in a battle here for second with the 52.
It's just going to be a big back and forth.
They're going to try to go 3 wide around the lap car.
Yeah, this is going to be tight between Holloman and Todd Hemler. It's going to be very close, but I think they're going to make it through unscathed. But now Hutchinson's the one stuck behind the 59 as we make our way back to the front. Michaels and Daly, 2 teammates at Kings Motorsports, are side by side. They got to settle this accordingly because Alexa Lucian's got now a half-second lead over these two, coming to 6 laps to go.
And I think this might be it for Lucian unless Michaels can get a run here. I think Lucian might be looking at another win here with 6 to go.
Now 6 laps to go at Atlanta. Joshua Michaels doing everything he can to try and make something happen of it. But Lucian doing her best to stay out in front. Michaels has got to maybe back up to his teammate Keon Daly, see if they can't get a run together, pull off one of the old tandem moves we've seen in the past to try and gang up on the 50 out front. What they could really use is another teammate up here, but they don't have another teammate in the top 10 anymore. So, with now 5 laps to go, it looks like they are starting to work together just a little bit on Lucian, but I think Daly's trying to take a peek underneath the 18, and that's what's going to hurt him, I feel.
You got to try to build a run, as it looks like they are going to catch this 55. Is that the 55?
That's the 99 up in front. The 55
is the 99. Sorry, my bad. My bad. The 99, the lap car, looks like is going to affect this with 4 to go. Can Lucian get the run around the 99 before the 18?
And now Michaels is all over the back of Lucian with 4 laps to go, doing whatever he can to try and steal this one away. Remember, Michaels has a super speedway win this season already. He got it at the season opener at Pensacola. Lucian does not have a super speedway win to her credit yet, but she's looking to get one here. She dives underneath Grayson right here.
Car, so that's big right there. Can Michaels get the run around as well?
Oh, Grayson pulls Lowe to cut him off. 3 laps to go. I think Grayson now gets the idea that these guys do not want him in the way. He makes the move up top. He might hold up the 52 a little bit, but he allows Michaels through. Now, this is going to be a very interesting battle. It depends on how many of these cars get past the 99 in an ample amount of time, because now we're coming to 2 laps to go, and only Michaels is clear right now.
Michaels, but now it looks like his teammate now is going to work clear, but the problem is now his teammate is side by side possibly with him for second.
This is all doing Alexa Lucian a big favor out in the lead of this race. She's got about 2 miles to go, 2.5 more miles to go to get her next win in the one at Nitro National Series. Cody Goforth, where did he come from in the 01? He's going to lose a lot of momentum here, but he was, for a moment, going to battle for a spot in the top 5 as the white flag flies here at Atlanta.
Michaels is going to try to make one last run at Lucian, but I think it's going to be too little too late. I think that 50 car is just too strong. I think Lucian's going to get the first win here on this new configuration of Atlanta.
Down the back straightaway they go for the final time. Alexa Lucian dominated this race, has done everything right in it. And now, coming through 3 and 4 for the final time, it's going to be Alexa Lucian off of 4, who's going to take the victory here at Atlanta. Lucian wins for her 3rd win of the season. Joshua Michaels came within 0.3 of a win. He will have to come home 2nd at the end of this one. Keon Daly makes it the Kings Motorsports 2-3, coming home 3rd. Todd Hemler comes up 4th. And Tyler Ferris gets his first career top 10 in the 1-Up Nitro National Series in 5th. Terzic in the 57, a nice run for him in 6th. Autumn Koger fell to 7th, ahead of Justin Hutchinson, Aaron Hall in 9th, and Eric Monica runs out the top 10 as Cody Goforth just didn't have the momentum on his side at the end. He finishes 11th. But that is Atlanta for the 1-Up Nitro National Series, and boy did it put on a show for us. You never quite knew what was going to happen until the checkered flag flew. That just makes me excited for Texas World next time out even more.
Yeah, and it makes me excited for the other race we're going to see here tomorrow. I mean, this configuration Atlanta is going to be fun. I would like to see what the other series does here. The National Series really did give a good showing on this configuration. It's easy to see why they reconfigured the track, but man, that was fun. Hopefully we'll see some more good action in tomorrow's race as well.
So, from Ryan Griffin and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll see you again next time at Texas World Speedway for race number 23 of the season. And with Alexa Lucian taking a big chunk out of Patrick Smith's points lead, it'll be a very interesting title fight from here on out, as we only have 3 races to go between now and the crowning of our next 1-Up Nitro National Series champion.